Good morning and welcome to KidNuz. I'm Tori. Today is Thursday, January 20th, 2022. And we begin with a country with year-round tropical temperatures once again sending bobsledders to the Winter Olympics. Team Jamaica first competed in the twisty ice track event in 1988, with its four-man team inspiring the popular feel-good film Cool Runnings. Since then, the nation's participation in the sport has been spotty, which isn't too surprising considering that temps in the coldest month of the year, January, hover in the mid-80s. It rarely snows there, even at the highest peaks, which makes training a huge challenge. They rode out their COVID quarantine in England, where the team's pilot, Sean Wayne Stevens, and teammate Nimroy Turgot pushed a Mini Cooper, which weighs about the same as a bobsled, up and down the hills of Britain to keep in shape. In a fitting twist, Sean Wayne says he himself was drawn to the sport by the Cool Runnings movie, which taught him to never give up on his dreams. Exactly 1 year ago today, President Biden took office. And yesterday, to mark the occasion, Mr. Biden held his first formal press conference of the year, his 10th since becoming president. He answered 2 hours worth of questions, many focused on his administration's challenges and accomplishments around the pandemic. This week, in addition to making 4 free COVID tests available by mail per household, the government announced it will deliver 400 million free N95 masks to pharmacies and community health centers for pickup as early as next week. As the Omicron variant is thought to be at its peak or on the decline in some areas around the U.S., critics of the new policies say they're too little, too late. It's not for COVID, but there's a new type of face mask in high demand. Pink and slippery, this one is made by Oscar Mayer, a company best known for its hot dogs and deli meats. The Bologna Hydrogel Sheet Face Mask doesn't actually contain meat, and it's definitely not edible. The ingredients include seaweed, witch hazel to hydrate, and collagen to lock in the moisture. It's selling for $4.99 on Amazon while supplies last. And for every kid or adult who's ever torn a few holes for your eyes and mouth out of an actual slice of bologna before slapping it on your face, this invention probably makes complete and total sense. In other KidNuz notes, your morning OJ is now coming at a steep price. In the U.S., the supply of oranges is down while customers' demand for juice is up, sending prices through the roof. Citrus disease is the culprit, resulting in smaller oranges and less fruit per tree. In fact, the nation's orange crop is the smallest since World War II. Processors not only have to buy more oranges to make juice, they also have to pay more per orange due to the dwindling supply. For the last 20 years, demand for juice had been shrinking, but that's changed due to the pandemic now that more people are eating breakfast at home. We can't stop talking about Bruno. The uber-catchy tune from Disney's Encanto soundtrack has risen to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart, which is one notch higher than Frozen's Let It Go ever soared. The fact that the meaning of "we don't talk about Bruno" is a mystery to those who haven't seen the film has done nothing to hamper its popularity. Bruno's topping the U.S. charts for Spotify, YouTube Music, and videos, not to mention TikTok, where it's been featured around 150,000 times and clocked more than 469 million views. The song's unlikely success may even be a surprise to Disney, which didn't submit it for Best Original Song at the upcoming Oscars. And talk about being at the right place at the right time. Rachel Lawrence of Essex, England, was on the phone with her vet checking on Torvi, her cat who had just had an operation, when she heard a familiar meow. Asking if the meow belonged to Torvi, the vet said no, it came from a stray black rescue that had been brought in. Knowing it was a long shot, Rachel showed up at the vet to pick up Torvi, armed with pictures of her other cat, Barnaby, who'd been missing for 8 months. The second she laid eyes on the stray and the telltale white splotch on its back foot, a tearful reunion ensued. Barnaby is a little worse for wear, but is said to be settling back nicely into his feline routine. That's it for KidNuz. Now, our KidNuz quiz. What tropical country is again sending its bobsled team to the Winter Olympics? Jamaica. What is behind the spike in orange juice prices? Citrus disease. We Don't Talk About Bruno is now more popular than what other successful Disney song? Frozen's Let It Go. Beginning next week, how many N95 masks will the U.S. government distribute? 400 million. In our KidNuz kicker, the 400 million N95 masks being distributed next week account for just half of the 750 million the government currently has on hand. They're part of what's called the Strategic National Stockpile, a host of emergency medical supplies housed in 12 secret locations across the U.S. These ordinary-looking warehouses are stacked 5 stories high with things like antibiotics, vaccines, and other PPE, or personal protective equipment, to roll out to the public when a health crisis or a natural disaster strikes and stores and hospital supplies run low. Before we go, a big KidNuz shout-out for our terrific teachers and their students. Mrs. Bruno at Lumpkin County Middle School in Dahlonega, Georgia. Mrs. Doucette at Griffin Memorial in Litchfield, New Hampshire. Miss Segura at Carrillo K-5 Magnet in Tucson, Arizona. Mr. Turney at Clara Barton Elementary in Anaheim, California. And Mrs. Carlson's Wildcats at Wolcott School in Thornton, Illinois. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to check out our store with cool KidNuz backpacks, hats, and sweatshirts on our website, www.kidnuz.org. And we hope you tune in for more KidNuz tomorrow morning.